We have a major New York Knicks free agency update as an NBA insider has revealed new targets for the Knicks amidst seeing names like Ben Simmons frequently pop up when it comes to who the Knicks are interested in. Now we have seen a new slew of guys join for that last roster spot that the Knicks have for that veterans minimum contract, with the Knicks targeting sort of a pretty specific need that does kind of show what direction they're looking at, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as usual. We're back from the trip, and because of that, we are going to be on that grind right now. Got a lot of videos coming out. You do not want to miss all the New York Knicks updates that are coming your way. But with all that being said, let's jump into the video. There's a lot to go over, as Leon Rose and the Knicks have been diligent with that final roster spot, as they are yet to sign it, and now we are in August. By the end of August, training camp does begin. The Knicks do report back to Tarrytown and get things going, and we are going to see how that has an impact on everything. Mike Brown will be running his first training camp, and the Knicks will really be practicing for the first time in a long time. And up until that point, we don't know what the entire roster is going to look like. We know the core of this team. We know Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Gerson Yabusele, Mitchell Robinson. We know that core. It's not lost on us. However, there is still another guy who will be joining the fold for this team, and in a way, on an actual spot that they'll be getting minutes. And now there's been a lot of discussion who that is going to be, and a lot of it has centered around none other than Ben Simmons. And we've talked about Ben Simmons so much on this channel because he's been the name that's been linked to the Knicks the most. However, recently we've actually seen a new slew of names come up, as Athletic Knicks insider James Edwards revealed a huge update on this, saying, "I'd be a bit surprised if New York started the year with Tyler Kolek playing behind Jalen Brunson. I'm not sure Kolek's ready for such a big role, considering the Knicks have such lofty expectations for next season. Miles McBride is best utilized as an off-ball guard. However, I wouldn't be stunned if he took on backup point guard duties next year." Now, obviously, Jordan Clarkson being there does make me think hell of a lot of the on-ball duty as well for this team, but Jordan Clarkson is not necessarily a point guard per se, and the Knicks, they're looking for a point guard, whether it's Tyler Kolek, whether it's someone else, but because they have another veterans minimum roster spot, the reason they're looking at Ben Simmons is because he can play point guard and center. It makes sense why they'd look for him. He could be a lead guard who's also 6'10", so he can handle some big man duties as well at the same time, especially next to Karl-Anthony Towns, considering Simmons is a great defender and at the same time is big, so he helps you there and can be the guard all in one, and it does really help the Knicks out a whole lot. Now, with that in mind, there's been a lot of discussion surrounding other names, and Edwards did give some looks into guys who aren't Ben Simmons, saying, "I'm expecting New York to use its veteran minimum spot on a point guard with names like Ben Simmons, Malcolm Brogdon, DeLon Wright, and Monte Morris, all worth mentioning." Now, diving into all those names, they all do have very different skills. I mean, starting with Ben Simmons real quick, and then we'll get into the other ones, because we've talked about Ben a bunch. We're going to fly through this. Ben's averaging 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, shooting 52% from the field. He's an excellent defender still and a good playmaker. However, there are the weaknesses. For instance, the fact that he doesn't look at the basket. It makes it tough with guys like Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. So the Knicks don't exactly need the whole lack of shooting thing. It's a lot to process, especially on a Mike Brown team, and that would be a little bit concerning. However, Knicks fans are not totally against the idea, seeing multiple Knicks fans just speaking out and saying that if Ben Simmons is a Knick, the Knicks should get it done so that the city can kind of back him up so he's going in with confidence, because that's an issue. And on top of that, that Ben Simmons would be one of the best Knicks rebounders, passers, and defenders while on the floor and being able to run an offense. That's worth going for, even if it's going to hurt the shooting aspect. So there's some splitness to this. Some Knicks fans definitely don't love the idea of Ben Simmons. I will say I don't love it. I think there's a lot of good with it and a lot of bad with it. Meanwhile, there's other guys, there's more good or a similar amount of good for other reasons and less bad. That's how I personally feel on this whole Ben Simmons situation, if you ask me today. However, on top of that, you look at these other names, and there are guys who make sense. Now, Brutus, who is a very well-known Knicks fan on Twitter/X, said that the top of his Knicks free agency ladder is Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, Amir Coffey, Landry Shamet, Malcolm Brogdon, Trey Lyles, Chris Boucher, who's now in the Celtics. This was yesterday. Kai Jones, and Delano Banton, and also Charles Bassey. Now, the Knicks looking for a guard. We see Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook on that list, Malcolm Brogdon on that list, and Landry Shamet, who's more of a wing than anything else, but definitely not a point guard. He's a pure 2. Can play the 3, even though he's a bit undersized. Wings at some position now. It's not really shooting guard, small forward. We know how it goes. It's wing and forward. But not the point. The point is, when we look at some of these point guards who are listed here, Malcolm Brogdon's an interesting one. He put up 13 points per game last season, 4 rebounds and 4 assists. He shot 43% from the field and only 28% from three, which is well down on what his career averages usually are. Now, he did shoot 40% on corner threes, and he can run the guard spot, so he gives the Knicks another guard, and being on a Mike Brown team feels like a good fit for Brogdon, who's a good passer and can shoot a lot better than 28.6%. I'm kind of giving him that year being on a terrible team was impacting his stats because there was more of a defensive focus on him than there would be if Brogdon is to sign with the Knicks, and I do think his shooting numbers would go up because of the Mike Brown ball movement of it all and liking the three-point shot. I do think we'd see that when it comes down to Malcolm Brogdon specifically. Meanwhile, you look at DeLon Wright, who over 16 minutes last season per game between the Bucks and the Knicks averaged 3 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, shooting 34% from the field and 27% from three. But those numbers were really more in his tenure with the Bucks, where he was shooting 25 and 25. So take those with a grain of salt compared to what they are with the Knicks, which were a bit better, albeit not great, though DeLon Wright definitely did have his moments. He actually got some playoff burn with the Knicks because of the defense he was able to play, and he was able to run the floor as an actual point guard. But with Mike Brown coming in, there's not the same Tom Thibodeau effect there, which might help Wright or might not. When it comes down to it, Tibbs didn't play right until the front office kind of pushed him to. So the front office clearly has some love for DeLon Wright. And we would see if Mike Brown would have interest in playing Wright. So we definitely could see that. He shot 42% on corner threes, which is interesting. And again, very, very good defender as well. He's got some solid size to him at 6'5". So there could be a reason why the Knicks would kind of stick around with a guy who does know how the team operates as far as the front office goes. And then there's Monte Morris, kind of an outside chance here, but well-respected guard for a few reasons. In 12.7 minutes per game last year, he put up 5 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. The defense isn't great, but he's a solid scorer. Put up 42% from the field, 36% from three, and 37.5% on the corner three. He recently turned 30. Morris is someone who fans do seem to like when he's on their team, so he does have a positive impact. 5 points in 12 minutes per game is not really bad at all. Nothing to really sneeze at. So for low minutes, Monte Morris could give the Knicks that guard they're looking for. He is smaller, so that does add not very much size between Morris, Deuce, Jordan Clarkson. But still, there is some actual rhyme or reason to this. Though I don't think Morris will get the spot, I wouldn't absolutely hate it. But I do think there's better options out there. Specifically, that better option being none other than Malcolm Brogdon. I think Brogdon, out of these guys, would be my pick. He's a bigger guard. He's a point guard. He have a better year than he did shooting and efficiency-wise than he did in Washington. And on top of that, he just can shoot. And it's the Simmons thing, man. I don't trust it. I know he's versatile, and if the Knicks sign Ben Simmons, I'm not going to be mad. But also, Malcolm Brogdon is well received as a teammate. Have we ever heard that be said about Ben Simmons? So I think on this list, I like Malcolm Brogdon the best personally, considering the shooting that is there, the defense that's solid, and the overall locker room presence. For me, that's my choice. Out of these four, what would your choice be? Obviously, if you want someone else, let me know in the comments down below. But who's your favorite out of these four now that we're seeing a couple new names join the fold? Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Go Knicks.